Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. It's First Amendment Friday. I'm glad to be with you, and we'll get to your phone calls and emails a bit later at 866-HEY-LARS. That's 866-439-5277. Emails go to talk@larslarson.com. I have a great friend of about 30 years who has the money to do it, so he goes to Hong Kong at least once a year. Now, he's not going there for business. He goes because it's an interesting place. And I've followed what Hong Kong has done, both under the British and now under the Chinese communists for a long time, because I find the place absolutely fascinating. That if you had a real free market system, about as free as it gets anywhere, the proof is there that it actually generates a lot of economic opportunity for everyone. And then the Chinese communists took it over. And now it sounds like China is subsuming Hong Kong in. I mean, they're not going to stick to the terms of their agreement that for another quarter of a century, they're supposed to give semi-autonomous treatment to Hong Kong. So Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has told Congress that Hong Kong is no longer sufficiently autonomous from the People's Republic of China, the PROC, which means it's no longer going to get different legal treatment from the United States. And the president doubled down on that in an announcement just a few hours ago. Mike Gonzalez joins me now, who's a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and the author of The Plot to Change America, How Identity Politics is Dividing the Land of the Free. I got to tell you, Mike, there are plenty of examples from your book, or that would fit your book, from what's going on right now involving Minnesota, Minneapolis, and the investigation of the untimely death of a man in police custody. But we can get to that another time. Should America start treating Hong Kong like it's just another neighborhood of communist China?
Well, first of all, we must say it is a sad day. Hong Kong is a really special place, right? Hong Kong proved every day for decades and decades the superiority of the free market system. Hong Kong had a flat tax rate, little regulation, was very tough on corruption, everything you improved it by being incredibly successful. A city of high-end banking, GDP per capita over $65,000 a year, a lot more than China's $15,000. But China could not live with freedom in one little city. And even though it promised to respect Hong Kong's autonomy, it violated its own word. Secretary Pompeo had no other choice. The president, when he made his announcement a couple of days ago, President Trump had no other choice but to act the way he did today. It is not President Trump and Secretary Pompeo that took Hong Kong's autonomy away. They merely took note of the fact that the People's Republic of China had done that.
Yeah, and having done it, does this ruin Hong Kong? Does this mean at some point we're going to see both capital flight and talent flight out of there as people realize we're not going to have a special status for another 25 years, maybe the rest of somebody's career, so it'd be better to go somewhere else, which is going to hurt Hong Kong. It's also going to hurt mainland China. Or do you think people will stick put and see what the Chinese do?
Well, the Hong Kong people are very intelligent. They're wealthy. I'm going to break a little bit of news here with you, Lars. They're steering in Congress about allowing some people from Hong Kong to immigrate here, in Europe may join us because they want to have these high-end individuals. It will be an embarrassment for China to see people just abandoning the city. The city is a beautiful place, by the way. I lived there 8 years.
Did you really? And Mike,
yeah.
By the way, it's such a popular city and such a high-end city. It's true that they literally will say it costs extra to even drive a car into the central part of Hong Kong. The place is so popular, it's so populous, and it's such a small footprint that they have to control the amount of traffic they have coming into the city, so they allow the marketplace to control it. If you really need to go downtown, it's an extra, I don't know what it is, $10, $15 to drive into the city because it is such a popular place.
Yeah, that's right. And, you're a fool if you have a car in Hong Kong because you're paying a lot of money and there's taxis everywhere. Hong Kong is one of the best taxi cities in the world, much even better than New York. Or London. I'm not kidding. You can get a taxi anywhere at any time of day. And you pay so much for the luxury of driving a car. Still, because they have so much money, a lot of people have cars, and so it is really clogged. But look, as President Trump said today, he was going to take action to revoke Hong Kong's preferential treatment as a separate customs and travel territory from the rest of China. If China is going to treat Hong Kong the way it treats Guangzhou, Shanghai, and not Nanjing or Beijing, that is very shabbily, why would we then think that Hong Kong is an autonomous place and exempt Hong Kong from tariffs or from dual-use exports? We're going to have to take account of the fact that, sadly, this jewel of a city may be badly hurt because, Xi Jinping, the leader of the Communist Party of China, on the Chinese Politburo, the 14 men who are the political bureau of the Communist Party, cannot live with freedom in one city, with economic freedom. This is astonishing, and the world should take notice. And even if, many people say, well, who cares? It's a city half a world away. What does it have to do with us? It has a lot to do with us in the sense that if the Chinese Communist Party cannot keep its word, what are we going to do with that? It's a rising power. We have great power competition right now, Lars.
Yep.
And if we cannot trust the leaders of a country of 1.4 billion people, a rising economic power, we have to ask ourselves hard questions. What do we do with that?
Well, and Mike, the point you're making, I think, is huge because they're not just a rising economic power, they're a rising military power, and their belief system is antithetical to ours. And you can see in this recent go-round with coronavirus, they saw fit to keep the secret of coronavirus for an extra 7 days, 10 days, in a way that was incredibly detrimental to the rest of the world and the United States because it benefited them. So you're dealing with a bad actor. It'd be like having, doing business with a bank or with a company, and you find out they don't honor their contracts, they don't tell the truth, they'll lie to you when it benefits them, and they're very, very powerful. As you said, how should we react to that? And I don't think it should be good for China or for Hong Kong, because all those things are true, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I mean, they lied for longer than that. They hid the truth on coronavirus. They even lied about people-to-people transmission. The WHO, by the way, one of the things that President Trump announced today was that we're terminating our relationship with WHO, with the World Health Organization, because China apparently convinced the WHO to go along with its lie that there was no person-to-person transmission until late January.
January 14th, they put a tweet out. And, Mike, right. I guess the point there is I've seen some people decrying this split with the WHO, and I thought, no, if we can't trust the WHO to act impartially and tell the rest of the world what we need to know, that they're only going to act in China's benefit, I don't think we should be associated with a group like that, should we?
Let's just say that if they refuse to change, if they refuse to get rid of the Secretary General, Tedros, and of the present leadership, there's a lot of questions to be asked about why we should continue our relationship with them. Now, that is not my area, so I don't want to comment on that. But I do have, these hard questions need to be asked to the WHO. There's no question about that. But let me just add one thing.
Yeah.
Because China added insult to injury. Having hidden the truth, then they launched a disinformation campaign blaming our military for starting coronavirus.
Yeah, they did.
And so, I mean, this is just appalling behavior at a very key time. I was on a conference call with Secretary a couple of days, and he was not holding back. Here, I'll say a quote he says, quote, "This is a pattern, and the Chinese Communist Party will have to be held accountable for the things they have done to endanger the security of the American people."
Absolutely right. That's Mike Gonzalez from the Heritage Foundation, the author of The Plot to Change America. I'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to The Lars Larson Show.